it's nice when possible to find practical takeaways for people. And as somebody who spends all of his research time and a lot of his non-research time on thinking about how to improve cognitive function, do you have any advice or things that you do on a daily basis that are easily actionable to improve cognitive function that people might be
Sure,
able to do?
100%. So what I describe to you is my own. I like to think of Nerdscape as like an applied science fiction center, right? Like that is using the latest technologies to create precision instruments to drive plasticity and improve cognition. And I am going to keep working until we get there. But they're not available. I mean, some of them are starting to be available. Endeavor's available, and people and friends that feel like I could use better attention are using it. People with ADHD, so I'm very happy about that. But it is one tool, small tool, in what we need is much larger tool chest in order to have the impact that we need to have. So what do we do in the meanwhile, right? That was a long way of saying like we're not there yet, and what can we do without all these fancy technologies that I've been talking about? And it's sort of the same thing, right? The idea is that targeted experiences drive outcomes and harnesses our brain's plasticity and our body's plasticity. And we've come up with closed loop approaches that do it in a really powerful way. You can do it for less time. But you want to, what I do, I'm not like a self-help person. I think I could come closer than other people, other scientists, but mostly I like to give my self-help in terms of talking about just what I do, because I feel more comfortable in that domain than saying you should do what I do. This is just what I do. So I feel that I give a lot of attention to the experiences in my life. What am I taking in? Not just in terms of food, but in terms of information. How am I consuming my information? How am I consuming my food? And how do I engage in my interactions with other people and with nature? So that's sort of like the foundational part of how I try to judge what I'm doing in my life. In terms of specifics, physical fitness, tons of data in terms of keeping our brains healthy. Kids, adults, seniors, both aerobic training, strength training. So I pretty much exercise every single day. It's on my calendar or else it'll be missed. So that's a very important part of my life. Sleep is very important to me. You brought up sleep. I have babies now, so sleep is hard, but I still do my absolute best. Eating, nutrition, I follow, I think as close to like what would be described as a Mediterranean diet as I can. Stress, I wouldn't say stress annihilation. I think some stress is good. I think stressing the system is critical. Data would suggest we respond to stress. There's a difference between challenge and hopeless, helpless, chronic stress. So keeping a challenging life is important to me. I challenge myself all the time in tons of ways, and it's work, but I feel I am better for it. Spending time in nature. I was just out in the redwoods all weekend with my family. No devices really, just really spending time with beautiful trees and mountains and streams. And really engaging with people in a thoughtful, intentional way, not being distracted, clearing my environment of distractions as much as possible, minimizing multitasking, certainly if I need to do something important. That's the sort of list.
Okay. So just to dig in and clarify on just one point, you sort of elaborated on this as you went along, but when you say you focus on experiences like eating, interacting with people, nature, etc., does this mean that you try to make sure literally that you are eliminating distractions and avoiding multitasking when doing all of these things in as much as is possible? So like when you're eating, you just try not to be looking at your phone, things like that.
Yes. So I would give a caveat to that. There are times when I believe I'm doing something that's so unimportant and so easy to do that if I'm not multitasking, I would go insane trying to do it. Like it's just too boring. Like, cleaning up my closet, doing something that.
Yeah.
So there are times where multitasking is a great thing to do. Listen to music, check your phone, take a break, whatever. You have something to get done. It's not life-threatening. It's not as important as having a conversation with someone or finishing an article that has a time pressure. So yeah, multitasking is fun. It's lots of novelty. It's switching is great. So I don't eliminate those things all the time. I just choose when I do it. If I go into my daughter's room and want to engage with her while she gets ready in the morning, I don't bring my phone with me. That would just be stupid because I would look at it. I would know it was there. I would be tempted. And so, yes, when I'm doing something that I intentionally want to be focused on, having dinner with my family, engaging with a friend, finishing an article that's due in a couple of hours or the next day, I minimize distraction and multitasking. But I do use those things in other settings.